Today, we're going to take a look at Alexandra Drobik's very first e-learning portfolio website that just went live, and I'm sure that this site is going to make a big splash on the instructional design job market. So stay tuned and we'll check it out together. So like I said, this portfolio website literally just went live at the time of this recording, and Alex hasn't even applied to any jobs with it yet. So I can't tell you where she wound up yet, but by the time you're seeing this about a month from now, I'm sure she has already landed a great opportunity or she's about to. And we will update you on that. You may know Alex from the mock interview session that we did with Karen North. So we'll also do another session where Alex answers questions about how she transitioned from an art teacher to a corporate instructional designer, because that transition is only a matter of time, and you'll see why after we see this portfolio website. It is really good. And I was lucky enough to be able to see it come together because after interacting with Alex a bit on LinkedIn and on Clubhouse, Alex joined the Instructional Design Portfolio Bootcamp. So I was able to see these projects and the website itself come to life and give a lot of feedback along the way and just really see Alex push herself further and further. So the website is really, really strong. We're going to take a look at it together. But if you do want to learn more about the bootcamp at any time, just go to idbootcamp.com. But let's dive into the portfolio website here and see why I think this is so strong. So here we are. You can view it for yourself at aleksdrobik.com, and Alex is Aleks. So a nice short domain here. Notice she could have done alexandradrobik.com, but having a nice short domain like this that you can list on resumes and on LinkedIn makes it much easier to drive traffic to your website. So this was a good call here. We can see that Alex also created this really nice custom logo. So it's like very minimalistic and simple, but it's like AD, her initials, but it's very playful and like sophisticated at the same time. So really strong logo there. And I was able to see how this came along, but when you're working on your site, I would say don't get too hung up on the logo, but you see how a nice logo like this can add to the branding and the appeal of the site, because we can see it up here, the fave icon as well. So that's a nice touch. And then of course, this is what I always recommend and go for. As soon as we land on the site, we have this really strong hero section. Hi, I'm Alex. I design aesthetically compelling e-learning that's simple yet significant. And we can see Alex's face. So again, it instantly builds that connection. We can see who Alex is. It helps build some trust. It helps make Alex a real person in our minds. Whereas if it was just text, maybe it wouldn't be so powerful. So this is good. Feels very personal. Feels like I am on a person's portfolio website. And we have this very strong call to action, get to know me. Okay, so Alex wants us to learn more about her. It's an interesting choice here. She wants us to learn more about her as a person instead of immediately driving us into her projects. So there's no wrong answer here. I think, again, we are all here to see her projects, but we will check out this about page a little later and see why Alex may have made this choice. But very good hero section here. If we continue scrolling down, this is where we can see Alex's recent work. So to learn more about how I solve problems and design solutions, you can explore some of my recent projects by selecting each image below. So this is not, we can also use the word portfolio here, since that's what hiring managers and even potential clients may be looking for. But recent work definitely communicates the same idea. And I want you to notice when we hover over these interactive elements, there's a little interaction, there's a little animation occurring. So like I've said before, these little touches are nice. This was built in Squarespace, and while there are some custom things, minor custom things like making this pink, I think that this is just like a built-in thing that you can do with Squarespace without a ton of extra work. So little touches like that are nice as long as they're not super overwhelming. So here we go. And notice same thing, when we hover over each of these, it tells us the title of the project, and we have these really professional looking mock-ups where we can see Alex's e-learning project on the screen of a real computer. I've pointed these out in every one of these portfolio reviews that we do, just because it adds so much appeal to the site and makes it feel so much more professional. And I do have a YouTube video about how to create these if you are unsure about how to do that. but both of the projects look great. We scroll down a bit more, we can see these testimonials. So what people are saying. So Alex picked out these, 1 to 2 sentences from these testimonials, and we can see that people are saying very nice things about her. She's innovative in creating engaging learning activities. Love it. And again, Alex is coming from, an education background. So you notice how these people, these coworkers, these employers, notice how they phrase these testimonials to really highlight that Alex's skill set can work really well in an instructional design context. Look at this. Loves collaborating to improve learners' experiences. If this right here doesn't scream instructional design, or like I would make a good instructional designer, I don't know what would. So very good how Alex helped guide these people to create these testimonials. Okay, and her professionalism and hard work produced great results for the company. That's good. Impressive work ethic, gives 110% to do what she needs to accomplish and support her learners' needs. So I think this is a really good curation of these testimonials, just because not all testimonials are created equal, right? So when we can see certain phrases like this that just shout, I would make a good instructional designer, and someone else is saying it, that is just beautiful to include on a portfolio website. So social proof like this, you've heard me say it before, I'll say it again, really makes the difference, really builds your credibility on a portfolio website. Maybe not necessarily a need to have for landing a full-time job, but definitely nice to have, and it will help. And then we have this strong call to action at the bottom. Let's make an impact. I'm open to new opportunities. Let's work together and make a difference. It's a really strong, positive language, and we have this call to action to connect with Alex. So here we go. So this is the homepage. It's really solid. It has everything we need to. A little tiny bit about Alex, basically just the value proposition. What does Alex do? And then we have these call to actions to let us dive deeper into the areas we want to explore more. So let's start with the About page. We'll get to know Alex. Another really bold image. I like the white. There's like not a ton of contrast, but it looks really modern and clean. And then the language here is really strong too. I thrive at the nexus of learning, technology, and visual design. And this is a big focus of Alex's. She has this art and design background. So you can see it, everything from the color choice to the layouts that she chooses. It really shows. So just reinforcing that with the language is very powerful, I'd say. So if we scroll down a bit, so here we go. It's text. Not a whole lot to break it up, but I know that Alex worked a lot on making this more concise and pack more of a punch in fewer words. And I think she has done a really good job with that. So we can see more about who Alex is, her approach to solving problems, how she works with people, what we can accomplish. So take some time to read this on your own if you'd like, but the language here is strong. And I really like this section here. So you may have heard me say this before, but when your personality can come out on your portfolio website, it can really resonate with, people who may want to work with you in the future. So look at this section, anything, everything, and more. I'm always up for a new challenge, heights not included, whether it's signing up for a 117-mile race or taking on a raging river. I enjoy being competitive, mostly with myself. So, you can keep reading here, but it's like, I love learning about anything that involves a process, asking me about salt prints or cyanotypes. So something from Alex's art background, photography background. I enjoy immersing myself in new experiences, whether it's traveling, trying new food, or making connections. So we can see a lot of Alex's personality come out here. It's hobbies, it's things like that, but we can see how being up for a new challenge or immersing yourself in new experiences, tinkering with code, we can see how these aspects of her personality would make her a really strong instructional designer. So this is a very good little paragraph right here to emulate for your own portfolio website. If you can weave in the person with the professional, it's going to be that much more memorable. And Alex reinforces it even more with photos. So here are a few of those things and experiences through images. So this is from Alex's thesis art school project. We can see Alex rafting here, artwork, travels, biking. So again, it's just more opportunities for people who also may be interested in these things to connect with Alex, right? It builds that connection with the person. So it's first maybe you'll be interested in me as the person. And I also see this in a lot of Alex's work, is this human-centered idea, this human-first concept. So Aleks is kind of living that with putting herself at the forefront, showing a bit of her personality here. And you can see this is not on every single portfolio website. So this was a conscious decision, and I think that it is going to really work for her. And here we go, punchy header here. Let's get back to business. Now that you have a chance to get to know me, visit my portfolio to see my projects. So I love the flow here, right? We land on the site, we can see Aleks, get to know her. We can go through this about page to get to know her more personally. Maybe we're interested in some of the same things. And now we get back to business and view the portfolio website. So it's a really strong flow right there. The portfolio is just back to the home page, nothing fancy yet. And now we can select each of these projects to view them. So the color scheme picker, this has been featured on the channel a couple of times now, but let's check it out together. It's a really cool project. So as usual, this is following the format that I recommend in my free content and my paid bootcamp. We have this nice overview. So it's a tool for instructional designers and learning experience designers to find good color schemes, essentially. So the tool has 10 curated color schemes, and maybe showing is better than telling here, but Aleks tells us who the audience is, so instructional designers who are newer to graphic design for e-learning. And her responsibilities were the instructional design, the e-learning development, and the graphic design for bringing this project to life. And then we can see the tools used. Again, every project on your site, you want to have this kind of a section so that we can see, okay, you can use these tools that our company uses. We can trust you. We don't need to spend a lot of time upskilling you in these essential tools. And Storyline is a big one of those. But here we go. We can experience the project. And notice Aleks has these really consistent button designs. Like, we definitely want that on our portfolio websites. And this color specifically really pops off the page with this white background. So great button design, I would say, great color choice, but I guess we shouldn't be surprised when Alex's main project here is a color scheme picker. She's great with colors. So here we are. Really, this is all built in Storyline, but notice that it's not going to feel like an e-learning course. It's going to feel like an app we would find on the web. So if we start here, there is this navigation screen. So notice Aleks is scaffolding what we need to know to interact with this user interface. So we can click on the heart to save a favorite color scheme. We can see more information about the color scheme's mood and recommended industries. We can see an example of the color scheme in use. And then we can even see a menu that shows all the colors. And of course, the ones that we favorited will have this nice little heart next to it. And then this is also really cool. You can actually click on these hex codes to automatically copy the color scheme to your clipboard, or the hex code, sorry, and then you can paste it into a project. So this is really cool. Let's start generating these color schemes. So here we go. So if we just click new, notice we can go through them. The color schemes look really nice. If we click on this example button, we can see how it may be used in an actual e-learning project. If we find one we like, for example, I really like this flora color scheme, we can select this heart icon. We can go here to the menu and we can actually see that it is favorited. So you see how cool that is? We can actually navigate to them from the menu. So when I see a project like this, clearly it took a lot, it took some advanced storyline development skills. This isn't just something you'll throw together without a whole lot of thought, and it is very creative. So if you've used any of these common color scheme generators online, like Adobe Color or coolers.co, I think is one of them, you can just press the space bar and it endlessly generates new colors. So Aleks looked to that for inspiration and was like, how can I recreate that in Storyline? And I think that thought process and, looking at a tool that you use every day or a tool that is helpful, and then using that or trying to recreate that or rebuild that in Storyline, that's a great way to use the tool and a great way to develop projects for your portfolio website, as long as you can be clear about the problem that they're solving or make a case that it's solving a valid problem. So let's dive back into it. This is the project, quite simple when you look at it, but obviously there is a lot of complex programming involved to make all of these pieces work together. So of course, Aleks isn't going, not everyone may know what went into building this. So Aleks, in this other half of the project, writes it up, tells us the story of the project, what problem is she solving, how is this a solution to that problem, and then she walks us through her process. So I'll let you actually read through this on your own time. We're not going to read all of this together. But notice how she features some of these things. Visual mockups, hand-drawn sketches. So she's showing this actually started on graph paper, just really quick and scrappy sketches, but she's showing this off. And I think, yeah, you might say, okay, this doesn't look super polished, but it does show that thought goes into this. She's not just throwing this together in storyline. This is like a phased process. It's careful, it's meticulous. We're making sure that we're doing okay every step of the way before moving forward. And getting feedback from the community and myself in the bootcamp, we all tried to help as much as we could with this. And I love how it has come together. So we can see here too, this is the Adobe XD file essentially. And we can see, this isn't storyline. Like Aleks designed these screens, identified these color schemes before ever touching storyline and building out that complex programming. And we can see that she's using guides, like she's clearly putting thought into how things are placed and using her visual design skills to do so. So images like that, like this, can really drive that point home. So once we achieved that, then she moved into storyline. Now we can see this interactive prototype, these storyline screenshots. And I just want to point this out. You notice how reading at the top, oh yeah, responsibilities, e-learning development, tools used, storyline 360, and then seeing the final product. Like you could still just pay someone to develop that. But Aleks is literally showing us screenshots from inside the tool. She's kind of removing all doubt that this isn't her doing all of the hard work here, that she doesn't know her stuff. Like we can see that this is a very long list of triggers on this page. So to the trained eye, this is doing a lot to build her credibility. And then full development, again, she highlights the features that she's most proud of and that are some of the most unique features to this experience. Another call to action to experience it. And of course, Aleks took it a step further, added this custom JavaScript to sendX API statements. So Aleks actually knows every single time someone copies one of these hex codes, she knows. Every time you favorite a color scheme, she knows. All of that data is getting collected in her learning record store. And I have a full YouTube playlist about how to do this if you want to check that out. But Aleks wanted to challenge herself. She really likes learning about code, and she wanted to highlight that in her portfolio. So it's really cool, like, she knows, oh yeah, someone's really using this Flora color scheme. I wonder what project they're using it on, because all of that data is getting sent back to the LRS. And she included a screenshot here, again, just to reinforce what she's saying. Like, yes, I actually did these things. Here's proof. Here's a photo of what's going on the back end. And there we go, again, showing us how this looked in storyline. She's showing us these execute JavaScript triggers. So just a really, really thorough write-up. And not everyone will read this. Maybe 1 in 20 people will read this. But you can imagine how if a careful hiring manager or recruiter does take the time to read this, it's going to make Aleks look very, very credible and skilled. And that's what it is all about. So here we go. So notice all throughout, if you're sick of reading the write-up, you have multiple outs to experience the full project, because Aleks really wants to get people in here so that they can feel how smooth the interactivity is and how nice this works. So really good project. And I love that we have this link at the bottom to experience the next project. So if we click that, it's very effortless, right? We made it to the bottom, and now we can move on to the next one. Let's see the full range of what Aleks can do with this instructional design and e-learning development skill set. So here's this other project. This one is a work in progress. Can you mend the relationship? So this one is all about customer service recovery. It's for these sales associates in a ceramic studio. And this one is more of the traditional flagship project that you hear me talk so much about and that we teach in the bootcamp. Aleks just decided to kind of switch the order and do this supporting project first. And obviously this turned into a very strong supporting project because it was so complex from a programming perspective. But here we are, we're showing that Aleks can design these scenario-based, story-driven experiences. It's still a work in progress, but rather than just waiting until that whole project is done before featuring it on her website, she decided to highlight the problem, highlight the solution, the scenario-based e-learning, and then talk about her process and what's to come. So this also can build her expertise. And of course, she can talk about this really well in interviews because she has a deep understanding of the problem. She knows how she's solving it. It's just a matter of working through it with the client, because this one is for a real client, and getting it shipped out to the people before she can do this full write-up. So really strong. Let's see when we get to the bottom of this. I do think that maybe having a call to action at the bottom of these write-ups to contact Aleks would be really strong, because again, it is nice being able to see the next project, but maybe at the bottom of the last project in this sequence, we could add a contact me or let's chat or reach out today, because we do want people to take that step and reach out to Aleks about potential opportunities. Okay, so we can see this footer, very simple, learning experience designer, creator of visually appealing learning experiences. So just another way to brand herself. I do things that look good. I'm a strong learning designer, but I do put a very, she's specializing in a way. Like, she can do good learning design, but she wants to make sure that the visuals and the layout and the user experience from a visual design standpoint is really, really strong. And I think that she's doing a good job highlighting that on her website. Everything does look really clean and sleek and professional. So it's good that she's reinforcing that. And finally, let's go to that contact page just with this link at the top. Let's make an impact. So again, really strong positive language about making an impact. Like, being on the site, I feel like working with Aleks, we're like actually going to accomplish something or do something together. So I like this positive language incorporated throughout the site. I'd love to work together and make a difference. So very simple, email address and message and submit. And we can see we have these links at the top as well to visit Aleks's LinkedIn or to just send her a direct email. So those options are nice, but this is a very simple form that gets the job done and gets people in contact with Aleks. So again, go to aleksdrobik.com to check that out for yourself, but I really can't wait to see where Aleks winds up, and I am looking forward to filming that follow-up question and answer session with Aleks, because I know that she can help a lot of people talking about her journey from teacher to corporate ID or e-learning developer. We'll see what type of role she takes. So thanks for making it to the end. This is the last e-learning portfolio review that I had in the queue here. If you would like to see more of these, please drop a comment. I can keep them coming as long as you want to see them. And if you do want some of my one-on-one support and help in creating a portfolio website like this, just head on over to idbootcamp.com and I'd be happy to help out. But I will see you in the next video.